How involved were you in your parents' love life? When I was 8 years old, my parents made me their relationship manager because they said their polyamorous lifestyle was too complex for them to handle without a neutral mediator. My parents discovered polyamory when I was 7 and immediately dove into multiple relationships. Within months, they each had 3 partners who had partners of their own. They decided I was perfect to manage it all because children were naturally unbiased. What they really meant was they needed someone to blame when jealousy erupted, because my job started simple enough, keeping a calendar of who spent which nights where. But it quickly expanded to mediating fights, scheduling dates, and making sure no one felt neglected. By the time I was 9, I was facilitating relationship check-ins and taking notes on everyone's emotional needs. Mom would wake me at midnight crying because Dad spent an extra hour with his partner. Dad would rage when Mom's girlfriend took her somewhere special. When conflicts arose, both parents would summon me to mediate, each secretly instructing me to take their side. I'd sit between angry adults trying to negotiate boundaries while they screamed over my head about needs I couldn't understand. The worst was when relationships ended. Mom's boyfriend left after 6 months, saying the dynamic was toxic. My parents blamed me for not scheduling enough quality time. When Dad's girlfriend broke up with him, they said I'd failed to remind him about their anniversary. Every breakup became my fault. They'd ground me for weeks as punishment for losing them partners. When I was 11, the entire polycule imploded over a vacation I'd supposedly failed to coordinate properly. 7 adults stood in our living room screaming while I sat with my laptop, frantically pulling up emails to prove I'd sent the right information. By the time I was 13, I was managing 12 different relationships, including their partners' other partners, because my parents got them to agree that that was the only way things would be fair. I had a phone specifically for relationship emergencies that rang constantly. During school, I'd get texts about conflicts needing immediate resolution. I'd hide in bathroom stalls mediating breakups between adults who couldn't communicate without a teenager translating. My own friendships withered because I was always on call. When I tried to quit, my parents said I was being selfish and threatened to kick me out. This family only works because of your gift, they said. Without you, we'd lose everyone we love. But then Mom started dating Chris, who hated the child manager system. He refused to go through me for scheduling and called it child abuse to my face. Mom was infatuated and began skipping other relationships for him, destroying the balance I'd maintained for years. Her partners complained to me, sending angry texts demanding their scheduled time. But Mom accused me of jealousy and sabotage. Meanwhile, Dad started dating someone who found the system creepy and convinced him to abandon scheduling altogether. Within weeks, their network was in chaos. Partners showed up on wrong nights, raging about unfair distribution of time. My parents had me organize a relationship weekend as a last-ditch effort to salvage things and convinced all their parents to go along with it. It was an absolute disaster. Mom's girlfriend showed up pissed because she discovered Dad had put a GPS tracker on her car. Somehow that made Dad's girlfriend realize Mom had been manipulating the system to isolate her. Years of resentment erupted at once, but then the blame shifted entirely to me. How had I allowed these deceptions? Why hadn't I flagged suspicious patterns? I was 16, watching adults destroy each other over a system I'd never wanted to manage. When the screaming stopped, they'd lost every partner except each other, and they blamed me for all of it. That night, my parents' rage turned into something darker. They'd lost everyone they loved because of my incompetence, and now they were stuck with just each other and the child who'd ruined everything. Mom started drinking heavily while Dad paced the living room, both of them listing every partner I'd cost them, every happiness I'd stolen. They fed off each other's anger until Mom suddenly stopped mid-sentence and looked at Dad. She has all the evidence, she said quietly. Years of emails, texts, recordings from the mediation sessions. She knows everything we've done to each other. Dad's face went pale as he realized what she meant. I documented everything on the laptop they'd given me. Every lie, every manipulation, every time one of them had sabotaged the other. I knew which partners they'd cheated with, which boundaries they'd violated, which crimes they'd committed in the name of love. They turned to me in unison, and I saw the decision in their eyes before they even moved. I ran from my room, but Dad got there first, blocking the door while Mom grabbed my laptop from the kitchen. "We're going to fix this," she said, her voice slurring but determined. "All of it, tonight." They started destroying everything. My laptop, my phone, the backup drives I'd hidden, but I knew they wouldn't stop there. The real evidence was in my head. I was the only witness to 8 years of their toxic games. As they cornered me in the hallway, Dad holding the hammer he'd used on my laptop, I realized they'd finally found something they could agree on. The child who knew too much had to go. Full story on the channel below.